Hello viewers, Namaste. Today we are at the Kanha Shantivanam at the outskirts of Hyderabad city, which is the global headquarters of Heartfulness Institute, Heartfulness Way of Meditation, which is a Sahasamarg way of meditation under the Raj Yoga practice. And the focus of meditation in Sahasamarg of yoga or in Heartfulness Way of meditation is about focusing on the heart. And the other concept very unique to the Heartfulness Way of meditation is the pranahuti, concept of pranahuti, which means yogic transmission of the divine energy from a guru or a preceptor to a meditator or a disciple. For this pranahuti, which is a very unique concept, the meditator or the disciple need not be at the proximity of the guru. He can be at any corner of the globe. It's possible to do the divine transmission even without physical proximity. Viewers, today we are so privileged to have with us the global guide of Heartfulness Institute, Padma Bhushan Kamlesh Patel ji, who is lovingly called as Daaji. He has millions of followers all over the globe. He needs no introduction. Daaji, in our Indian traditional wisdom and also in different traditional wisdoms, consciousness is the ground, is described as the ground of all spirituality. So this word we come across so very often. So what is consciousness, and is it related to chakra meditation or Kundalini awakening? So what is consciousness basically?
And when you ask a question, what is the purpose of life? Everything boils down to one thing: to understand intricacies of consciousness, how it is played out, and what happens to consciousness as we evolve and march towards our ultimate goal. So if I have to give an example, how far can you see when you are on the ground floor versus when you go to the third floor, versus when you go to the 125th floor and view the things? Your vistar, it increases tremendously. Likewise, person with higher level of consciousness is able to perceive things better than a person who is at a lower level of consciousness. Now, to define what consciousness is all about, I would only say it is the ability to perceive things. It's a degree of awareness. By that what I mean, it is also a degree of your unawareness. But it doesn't end there. Consciousness, though plays out a role in our perception, with our awareness, it's not all. My mother is sick, she has headache. What do? So I give her paracetamol, massage her head, massage her feet, and relieve her pain. So perception is not enough. My next action determines how evolved I am. See? Now, when you talk of chakra meditations and Kundalini, etc., these are all stations. All the chakras have different heights of awareness. Where from are you looking? It's not as simple and as easy like physical travel, but at the same time, nothing is easier than that.
Okay.
For a yogi, one who has mastered this technique of traveling up and down between the lowest and the highest chakras. If you are on the heart chakra, for example, you are able to perceive things, be compassionate, be empathetic, be loving. At the same time, if you are not fully aware and fully evolved, it can work against you also. Right? You can become cruel, for example. That's also a level of perception and your reaction. Cruelty, hatred, being restless, being angry, is also a manifested level of some consciousness. It's a double-edged razor. So you have to see how to make use of your consciousness. Either you can kill with a knife or you can cut vegetables and cook.
Double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword.
So consciousness and enlightenment are entirely two different concepts?
It depends how we use it.
How we use it.
How we use it. Consciousness of a person with a brute intelligence versus a wise person makes a big difference. I could be meditating on divinity, or maybe I can be hatching a plan to have premeditated murder. Right? So meditation plays multiple roles. It depends on the user. It's the process. What happens, how to meditate, very rarely people will tell you.
Physical wellness is the byproduct of meditation, basically.
Definitely. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual wellness, it's a full range. Consciousness, according to Swami Vivekananda, he says we all have some level of consciousness. And we are enjoying this despite of its width. It's a very small width which we are playing in this world. And imagine the width of consciousness with which you are playing in this world on a day-to-day basis is like a mere thin film of water, which is sandwiched between two giant oceans. When he says thin layer of consciousness, means it is very limited. That means one has to soar higher into superconscious state at will and dive deeper in the oceans of subconsciousness also at will by choice. When you analyze the Sanskrit word, which is dhyana, and you split this word dhyan, di plus yan. Di means ultimate wisdom, and yan means vehicle.
Vehicle.
So, simply put, it's a vehicle that transports you to tap into the ultimate wisdom. Di also, these letters, you'll find in Gayatri Mantra. Dhimahi dhiyo yonaha prachodayat, right? Here, Di means the same thing. May Mother enlighten me with the ultimate wisdom.
So, it is the route to reach the highest consciousness is through Kundalini Shakti, or it can happen otherwise also, like following the path of devotion.
On Kundalini, he would give example of Lord Rama of Ayodhya. Since his Kundalini was awakened from the birth itself, and so was that of Ravana, also awakened through tapasya.
Okay.
What would you do with this awakened Kundalini? In fact, having such powers in a person without discernment, without viveka, it can destroy you. Also, having so much of power for a person without viveka can embolden him with more desires fulfillment, and also it will pamper the ego. Both will come in the way of his liberation and merger.
Yeah. Yes.
See, when we transcend desires, we qualify for liberations. And when we transcend ego along with desire, we qualify ourselves for merger with the ultimate.
Merger with the ultimate.
That is the highest goal. And if you are still fortunate enough, you can go further beyond the merger. My Guruji used to say, true spiritual life begins after the merger. So Kundalini and all that, he said, these are toys in the hands of a yogi. Why you want to play with them? Just as children plays with toys, they pass their time. Teenagers, they have their own merriments. Adult life has their own pleasures. And so yogi, they are too busy with their consciousness. That they too also are playing with consciousness. But then he would ask question, what is it that supports this consciousness? Try to find that. Try to experience that fundamental support that backs this consciousness.
Is it something to do with our prarabdha, meaning our previous karmic
Not
balance?
at all. Okay. Prarabdha also it's a very weak force. Anyone can change it. Suppose you have, when you're playing this cards game, gambling, you may have the weakest card deck in your hands, but if you're a master gambler, you can play out and win the game. You may have the best cards and still lose the battle, lose the game. So with the prarabdha, bank of good samskars, because of your previous karmas. But if you don't use it wisely, what's the use of prarabdha then, see? So discernment or viveka is very important.
Most important.
Most important thing. Haven't we seen in our day-to-day life, most of the time our heart says, do this or don't do this? How many of us listen to that heart? Suppose you made a resolve, I want to wake up at 4 in the morning and meditate. Right? But then when it buzzes, your alarm clock at 4 in the morning, you say, oh, heart says get up, and the body says rest. Heart loses the game often.
We should learn to listen to the heart.
And follow it.
And follow it. There is one term that we come across very frequently nowadays, it is chosen one. So this chosen ones, so is it the karmic balance or prarabdha that makes them positioned better in this material world? And who are they? Like, are those big politicians, big leaders, big scientists, they are also chosen ones? So what is your concept of a chosen one?
Well, who chooses them? When you use the word chosen ones, does God choose such individuals for a particular task? I don't think so. When you talk of success of chosen ones, you are having a limited view of success. A person who is so successful politically, a good position in society, affluent, very impressive, deep down, if you look into the hearts of such individuals, you will feel like vomiting. Only if they knew their real status. That success, to me, is punishment.
Punishment.
While a very ordinary person leading a simple life, hand to mouth, doesn't even know where from next meal will come or next shelter will come. But if all these minimum requirements are fulfilled, they are happy.
They are happy, yeah.
They are happy. That doesn't mean we should crave for such a state. The real happiness is contentment. That in whatever state you are in, are you contented? Are you at peace with yourself? Do you feel that I have done my today's job well without compromising my conscience?
Without compromising my conscience, without any guilt.
Yeah, these are chosen ones. And who chooses them? No one chooses them. If God chooses you, He will empower you also with wisdom.
Yeah.
Chosen ones are only the avatar Purushas.
Okay.
And that's why they come with backing power. Power backing their personality and the goal to be fulfilled. They come with that enough power. When you say chosen ones in ordinary life, like actors, filmmakers, singers, artists, politicians, they grab such position, and these are all successes based on opportunities.
Opportunity.
They are often new karmas mixed with past karmas. To some extent, past karmas play out, your previous sanskars play out, but how you manipulate your present day karma also decides your success.
We come across different incidents like people having accidental opening of third eye or activation of Kundalini Shakti. So how do you, how is it explained? Like, is it because of their past spiritual karma?
Claiming that my certain chakras are awakened
Okay.
and really seeing they're awakened, they are two different things.
The two different things.
Many people boast that I have such and such a power, and ordinary people, common folks, will be influenced by such bombasted, wrong, information.
Or they may be simply mistaken.
That's why the
Some
word
different
Trumpism.
experience they have mistaken.
They're blowing their own trumpets, like our Trump.
Many people who are into regular practice of meditation, deep meditation, and they have different experiences, visions and spiritual experiences. So how can one know that that's a real spiritual experience, or it's just a hallucination, illusion, some kind of imagination?
It's very easy. Moment the question arises, was it real? It's not real.
It's not real.
When you experience something, it doesn't involve faith.
Yeah.
Faith masks or triggers certain experiences which you think is real. It can be real also. But I would like to say, when you have a real experience, you will not be able to doubt it, even though you may put 100 doubts in your head. Person who has really experienced the divinity will never speak about it also.
We'll never speak about it.
There is no need to. You don't need confirmation from outside. You have experienced. That's why belief and Shraddha, they mask your true encounter.
How to differentiate if it is really divine energy giving the person a vision, or it's some negative energy, lower beings forming some kind of a image?
Well, higher beings will never give you any problems. When you talk of evil people, even in the physical world, they can make your life difficult. Now, when you're talking of evil energy or bad forces, you talk of spirits, ghosts, things of that nature. So we have to understand why. What is the connection between my suffering and that evil spirit that is causing that suffering in me? When you have an encounter with divine energy, you'll feel elated. Your consciousness will feel so light. You'll feel joyful. Versus evil energy. Mm-hmm. You will feel contracted, as if some pressure has been built up around your chest. I give you an example from my personal life. Once I was in Brooklyn, New York, and to ease myself, I was proceeding towards his bathroom. I go inside and I feel a tremendous force, very heavy force. And I couldn't ease myself. I had to immediately leave that place from
Okay.
bathroom. And I told thanks to that owner and left. The person, one of my manager who was accompanying me, I asked her, why don't you call that person? Something happened. What is wrong with your bathroom? I felt terrible there. So he opened up and says there was a murder.
Okay, in that.
And that is why he had decided to sell his business.
Okay.
The clerk at the register was shot down with a gun. He was taken to that bathroom and killed there. So his soul was still hanging around there. See, I would not say it was an evil force, but something.
Disembodied.
Of course, disembodied, but very heavy feeling was there, asking or begging for something.
Okay.
All the spirits, they're like little children. When they want something, they'll have it at any cost.
Okay.
And that's why when they keep repeating their presence, you feel as if some annoying presence is there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you give them what they want,
Mm-hmm.
I share with you another example of one spirit that was visiting me quite often, asking for something.
Now or many years back?
Many years back, it was 2012 or so.
Okay.
And that spirit would trouble me, sit on my chest, press me like anything. And then
You could feel the pressure?
I could feel,
Okay.
yeah. And I would say very prayerfully, in a very gentle way, look, you are here, I think you need my help. What do you want? Then I could transmit. I transmitted my love to that spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it attained some level of consciousness and then became happy and never came back.
Okay.
Got what that spirit wanted. So most of the spirit, they come for higher evolution, not knowing whether this person will fulfill or not.
Almost all spiritual people and spiritual pursuits will say that they could leave the body and they could enter the astral plane and look at their body from a different plane. Is it the dreamland? Is it the same plane where we see our dreams? Or is it something like a spirit land, or what is it like? It's a different realm,
like
I
this.
understand.
Let me put it very simply. My hand can reach so far. Mm-hmm. But when I have a stick which is 10 feet long, attached with some robot thing, and I can clean the glasses.
Mm-hmm.
So individual with higher approaches, they have consciousness for day-to-day affairs. They can work easily. But those who have a longer limbs, meaning a higher level of consciousness, they can extend it there. You don't have to leave your body.
Mm-hmm.
When my hand reaches out, means I'm extending it. I'm not cutting my hand and taking my hand to the object of perception. It is only extending. So my soul or my spirit doesn't go out of my body to tap into another dimension.
It is just touching the...
Your awareness goes out there.
Okay.
Your physical presence is not necessary. Dream happens within. When I go to sleep, it is in between state between my waking state and sleep state. But this, what you are referring to, astral travel, is something different altogether. Even unenlightened person can have the ability to tap into Akashic memory.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessary that you become enlightened, and then all enlightened people also need not have this ability to have Akashic memory. It comes to you when needed.
One word is very close to it is the third eye vision. and the third eye activation. So what does it look like, the third eye? And if your third eye is activated, what is it that you can access more than the physical?
Well, third eye, our literature, our yogic literature is full of symbolism. Brahma with 4 heads, for example, or Durga with multiple hands. What does it mean? It is to portray the ability to do things with hands, with their Sakti. Brahma with 4 heads means it's pointed in all 4 directions, means knower of all, expanding in all directions. That is Brahma.
Mental capability.
Likewise, when Yoga Shastra describes this particular chakra as third eye, is the third level of visioning.
Third level of visioning.
Yeah. Like when you, which is super consciousness, through which you can see things, perceive things. Now, when we talk of eyes and perceive things is one thing. When this third eye is open, it's not the eye, but just to narrate it that you are able to perceive things, they made it as an eye. But there is no eye opening here. No. And to tell you the truth, the third eye which people talk about in Yogic Shastra is not in the forehead. It's in the occipital area. It also means power of destruction. And it can also be utilized for creativity.
Creativity.
Both are solved with the third eye. But there are many chakras which has greater potency than the third eye, than the Kundalini. Kundalini is nothing when you compare to some of the chakras which are there in the spinal cord. Nature keeps it under the rug.
How do the practitioner or the meditator know that after some years of meditation or whatever he is doing, how does he come to know that he has attained that state of samadhi or turiya state?
First level of consciousness is with which we are working, interacting with the world.
Logical world.
Second level is a dream state.
Dream state.
Third level is a deep sleep state, what yoga calls it as sushupti. Fourth level is turiya.
Turiya.
Now, calling turiya as a fourth level of consciousness doesn't make you any wiser. What happens when you're awake? You're a medical doctor. When you measure through EEG, you have those hertz. When you are so thinking, in a thinking mode, sometime it can touch 30 to 40 hertz per second. Hertz. When you are in state of samadhi-like state, that happens in the heartfulness way, day in and day out to many people, where this EEG would show that your awareness is having between 1 to 4 hertz. Your consciousness can be measured, it will be 1 to 4.
1 to 4.
Mimicking sleep, but you are not at sleep. Your state of mind is so relaxed, at the same time fully aware.
Fully aware of your surroundings.
Yeah. That is turiya.
What is the difference between a samadhi and a turiya state?
So let's define few things, not four things, few things. Consciousness, consider it as a whole spectrum, from lowest to the highest. Samadhi is somewhere in between.
Okay.
Right? It is a state which is akin to how you were just before the creation. That's why the word Sam Adi. Adi means before the creation. Sam means equivalent to or akin to, same as the previous state, pre-creation state. That was fully balanced. That's why people in Samadhi, they feel so balanced even afterward. Okay. Turiya is also something like that. It's a different level of spectrum, that's the only difference. Turiya is attained while you are in Samadhi-like state. Meditation does help having a higher level of intuition.
Intuition.
Yeah, it develops that very well. So it helps in studies, solving problems in life. So I always recommend people should begin meditation very early in life. You may benefit when you meditate at 70, no doubt. How will your next generation benefit? How will your genetic expression will come about, manifest?
Manifest.
It will not.
Yeah.
So, and when you begin meditation after 30, when you already have children, you will definitely benefit. But your children will not enjoy these chromosomes that were spiritualized before you conceived them.
Okay. Yes.
And that's why there is a general decline in morality and ethics with each generation. It weakens, it decays.
Yeah.
The best time is the moment of conception. If that is missed out, start at 15.
Which part is more significant to attain high consciousness? Is it devotion, heartful devotion, or is it chakra activation and Kundalini activation?
Suppose if I ask you, what do you understand by dhyana or meditation? Most of will answer that dhyana means to become quiet, dhyana means to become thoughtless, dhyana means to not to feel anything, dhyana means become calm, dhyana means to become more focused. But in reality, dhyana is not all that. What you described or understand, they are the consequences. Calmness, focused mind, concentrated mind, they are all the results of doing meditation. But what is dhyana? When you split this word dhyan, it's a Sanskrit word, dhi and yana. Dhi is repeated twice in Gayatri Mantra. It means, Dhi means ultimate wisdom. And yana means a vehicle. So dhyana is a process through which you tap into ultimate wisdom. And through that ultimate wisdom, all the riddles of life can be resolved. Let me tell you something else as well, that in this day and age, the path of the heart is the best way to go. There are more than 250 references to heart meditation or Hridaya meditation in Upanishads. Lord Krishna himself also recommends meditation on the heart, because he says in chapter 10 or Adhyay 10 and Sloka, if I'm not mistaken, is number 20, where he says, I dwell in every heart of every living being. So is it not the best way to tap into your heart and feel the divine? Heart is all about feelings, intuitions. Meditation channels these feelings, intuition, properly through the heart meditation, It somehow ignites our devotion. It expands our feelings. So, I would say meditating on the heart gives birth to bhakti, a real authentic bhakti. Other chakras, they are not as effective when it comes to realization of the ultimate. You know, activating your chakras without love is like having a complicated machine that doesn't work. For example, what do you do when your Kundalini is awakened because you meditate on Kundalini? Lord Rama, his Kundalini was awakened, and so was that of Ravana. Do you want to become Ravana? Or do you want to become like Lord Rama? We have three basic approaches towards spiritual fulfillment. One, Karma Yoga. Second, Jnana Yoga. Third, Bhakti Yoga. How will your karma look like without bhakti? It can only become labor, shram. And what will become of your jnana without bhakti? Showcasing, ego fulfillment, displaying your wisdom. Can it take you to divine abode? The heart's longing brings the divine response, while meditation makes it possible to get it. And this cleaning process, all the dirt and filth that we accumulate in our consciousness, when we get rid of it, we become more clearer.
How is consciousness different than superconsciousness? And how consciousness is different from awareness?
Let me explain to you in a very practical way. Suppose you are meditating, and because of this meditation, your consciousness will change. Now, if you can recollect, what was your consciousness before you started meditation? And what became of your consciousness after the meditation was over? Can you feel the difference because of that meditation? Have you been shifted to a little higher notch, more refined level of perception? But there are chances that people from that higher level or more refined level of awareness can drop back. So, consciousness, like a spectrum, we keep on going up and down. For an individual who is enjoying a normal level of awareness, a slight refinement puts them in a superconscious state. Maturing oneself in that superconscious state for some time makes that consciousness normal. When you are experiencing lower level of consciousness and fortunately you go higher and experience that, that becomes your new normal, which before that was your superconscious state. So it's all relative things, see. Every moment we have available consciousness, consciousness that is superconsciousness which is yet to be attained. There's a gap between superconscious state and my present. That's why Swami Vivekananda used to say, we all have some level of awareness, some level of consciousness. And he used to compare that consciousness, he would say, imagine this available consciousness with which we work in our day-to-day life like a thin film of water. Then he would say, above it there is an ocean of superconsciousness, and below it there is another ocean of subconsciousness. You can imagine pathetic or poor condition of the available consciousness. It's just a mere thin film of water that is sandwiched between two giant oceans. That is the situation of modern humanity. He says, arise, awake, and tap into that superconscious state and plunge, dive deeper into an ocean of subconscious. So as you tap into a sky of superconscious and the oceans of subconscious, you are slowly broadening your state of awareness.
What is a trance state, Daaji?
People have long realized that sound is a powerful spiritual tool. Even the primordial sound that gave birth to the universe is something parallel to understand. The original sound and the sounds that we make now. The undercurrent of that sound is always Om. Everyone has a different levels of sound emanating from their vocal cords. That becomes their signature voice. Likewise, every instrument has its own signature. It can become a spiritual tool, or it can also become a destructive tool, depending on those frequencies. Some can be healing, some can be sickening. Different frequencies affect our consciousness in various ways, just like the keys that opens different locks in our bodies. Drumming, for example, especially rhythmic drumming, can put people in trance by making their brain waves sync. It connects the physical and the subtle worlds. Many traditions, they utilize this to help people travel into their own inner worlds. Chants are different. Repeating sacred symbols, repeating sacred syllables makes specific vibrations that clean the air and the practitioner's body. Every mantra has a unique frequency that affects different parts of the mind. Different levels of our awareness gets affected. The sound of the conch, which is like the sound of the Om, they can clear our bad vibrations and brings good luck. This is why they can move us so profoundly, reaching parts of us that are deeper, more profound than just our feelings. In heartfulness way of practice, though we focus on the ajapa, which is the soundless sound. We don't make, but it is the pranahuti that enters our heart and triggers something in an unexplainable way, transports us into a different level of consciousness. The highest level of meditation happens in profound silence, though, where even the faintest of sound becomes part of the stillness. Use sound wisely as a way to get ready for meditation, not as a way to replace it. Let it set the mood and then go into silence that is beyond all sounds, where the real connection with God can happen. When you are listening to something, when you are reciting something, don't you think you are too busy?
Thanks a lot, Daaji, for your time and so much of high spiritual concepts you have brought to us in very simple words. You have explained things in very simple words. Thanks a lot
Thank
for
you for having me. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.